what I'm going to talk about here is really ancient. It comes from a time before um, the white buffalo calf pipe. It comes before. It comes from a time. The knowledge that I'm going to tell you comes from a time before there was the Sundance. Yeah, before there was Hambletia. Yeah, it's older than the ceremonies. It's really ancient stuff, and it talks about a journey that the soul is making, and the soul, um, the soul is always journeying, and it doesn't stop until it's complete. And I'll explain that to you in just a few minutes here. But one thing I really need you to understand is that this knowledge does not include God. It does not include Satan. It does not include good versus evil. Yeah, it's not about punishment and reward. Yeah, there's no heaven. There's no hell. It's something completely different. Yeah. So when a person dies, uh, the soul has four parts. One part goes back to the earth. Yeah, it goes to the earth because this earth piece helps the soul to live on this earth. I mean, the body. It helps the body to live on this earth, the physical body. But when the person's dead, see, they don't need that anymore. So it goes back to the earth. Now, the soul can journey northward. It goes to a place where there's a lot of pine trees. And there it waits until something comes from a certain star constellation. Yeah, it's going to come. And when it comes, it picks them up, and then they go with it. And they get to this, inside this certain area that's designated by a certain star constellation. And there, that leaves off another piece of its soul. See, this second piece that it's leaving off, that helps it to live in this universe. Okay? So there's two pieces left. Then from inside this star constellation, it goes into a certain path. Yeah? Today, scientists have found a black hole in that very same location that I'm talking about. Makes you go, Huh? What are these Lakota people up to here? We knew about this for millions of years. Yeah? So, the soul goes through there, and then it meets somebody, and this somebody looks at the soul and can see the two pieces inside. And this somebody, this someone, can tell if the two pieces are of the same energy or not. If they are not, then the soul has to turn around, come back again. Yeah? If the energy levels are the same in both pieces, then the soul can continue. can go continue on to this other thing here. Okay? But let's say it doesn't. Yeah, the two pieces are different energy level. So that means that soul has to turn around, go back to where it came from. So it comes through that opening again, yeah, that passageway. And it comes out at this same star constellation that I talked about earlier. And there, it gets that third piece again, because it needs that to be in the universe. Okay? So from there, it looks to the earth, and it chooses a mother who's going to, who's conceived. Yeah? As soon as the souls know, as soon as a mother has conceived, they know. So they choose a mother that they're going to be born into. Okay? Now the mother, as soon as she conceives, the earth gives a piece of its soul to the child, the unborn child. Do you see the 3 plus 1 here? Yeah? The baby inside the mother, excuse me, has a piece of the Mother Earth soul inside of its body. And the rest of it is still up there in that constellation. Remember, it has 2 of its own pieces, and plus a third piece that makes it possible for that soul to be in this universe. So, now, in Lakota tradition, the mother talks to the baby. Yeah? The baby is not born yet, but she talks to it, she sings to it, she tells the baby stories, she tells the baby about the family. Yeah, like if there's brothers or sisters or aunties or uncles or other mothers and other fathers, they all come and talk to the baby, even though it's not born yet. They're already getting the baby used to their voices, yeah, so that the baby will feel comfortable, that the baby knows it's going to be loved. And then that time comes for the baby to be born. Then here you have some midwives that come into the picture, and they know certain songs. There's 4 beings in this star constellation that are very sacred. And this is the same location where the soul is waiting. Yeah, the soul that's going to join the baby. This is the same location it's waiting, with its 3 pieces. Yeah. So these midwives, they pray to these 4 beings in this star constellation to help with the pregnancy. With the delivery, so that when there's difficulty, they send medicine down to, help the baby get into the right position, for example, so that the cervix will dilate to the required width for the child to be born. So they do that, and then the child comes out, takes its first breath. Remember, it has 1 part of the soul already. Yeah, it's from the Mother Earth. That's the earth piece that allows the body to live on this planet. As it's taking its first breath, that soul in that constellation comes down in an instant and goes inside the body with its 3 pieces. And then those 3 pieces join with that earth piece, and now the baby has 4 parts to its soul again. So we live. Hopefully we have parents who are going to teach us how to live healthy. If we don't, hopefully somehow we will learn it when we get older, that we can become healthy. That's one of the reasons why this show exists, to help those who did not have healthy parents. Yeah, this show is to help you, to influence you to live in a healthy way. So you learn, this child grows up, it lives, it learns, and it hopefully learns from its difficult experiences and learns to enjoy its blessings. It learns to communicate in a healthy way, and becomes a contributing member to its tiosh by helping people, asking for help, rejoicing with the people, supporting the people, giving the people a shoulder to cry on when they need it. And then it becoming an adult, and maybe it's going to have children too. Yeah. Then it grows old, or maybe it doesn't grow old and it dies because of whatever reason. Then the whole thing starts again. This earth piece goes back to the earth. The soul goes back to the star constellation with 3 pieces. And it leaves one piece there because that's the piece that allows the soul to come into this universe. Then it goes through that passageway again to see that person that's going to look at the 2 remaining pieces again to see if they match or not. And if it doesn't match, they come back again. They keep doing this until those 2 pieces match. That goes on and on and on. And when the 2 pieces do match, then they separate. Yeah. One piece goes back to where it originally came from, and the other one is you. It's your individual identity. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. There's more to it, but that's getting kind of sacred there. So what do you think happens after that? All you have to do is look at the beginning of the story, of the creation story. That's all you have to do. Yeah? And I didn't tell you the beginning of the creation story because that's sacred. But if you know it, if you're my student, you do know it. If you've been to my seminars, you do know it. And they know what happens. Yeah? But I'm not going to say that on the show, because this is a public forum. This is, sacred things do not belong here. So that's how that works. Yeah, it goes over and over and over until it's the development is complete. Then something else happens. Yeah. But can you understand now why we do not have a word for goodbye? Because this keeps happening. We never say goodbye. Because there is no goodbye. Yeah? So the most important thing about all of this is this life. Yeah? The life that you're in right now is the most important one. This is where you need to be learning from your difficulties and enjoying your blessings and communicating in a healthy way. You have to establish peace in yourself before you can do that. Yeah? Taking care of yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, so that you nurture those connections, and then you end up communicating from where those connections connect, your sacred center. where there's no skin color, no language, no race. Everything is sacred. This is where reality begins. So that's the ancient star knowledge custom concerning that. Yeah? And it's the next thing, there's other things that are involved too. Sometimes the soul, it doesn't have to leave right away. It can stay around. It can choose to stay around for a while. Yeah? And some people say if you cry around all the time, that traps the soul. No, it doesn't. The soul is not bound by the earth. It is not bound by gravity. Yeah? Because it doesn't have that earth piece. That doesn't have a physical body. So it can stay for a while. But in Lakota Star knowledge, you learn that the soul is an energy. Yeah? Can't have a voice because you need a voice box for that. It can't have it can't be shaped like the person it looked like. I mean, the person it came out of, because it's lived before. It came to the earth many times before. So it doesn't keep the human form. It's an energy. So usually they say the first 4 days after somebody passes on, you really should be careful, yeah, in your communications. And usually they have family members that other family members that are a little bit more distant related, that they come and watch over the people who are mourning, yeah, and then they take care of them, because usually the first 4 days are the most potent, they're most emotional, and it's during that time period where people can really lose it. Yeah, they can lose control of themselves, and when that happens, some kind of energy could go inside their bodies and confuse things, and it has to be taken out through ceremony, and that can be difficult sometimes. So they always have older relatives or elders who are wise to watch over these people who are mourning, so that they can ensure that they'll be okay, or that they won't do anything to themselves in a bad way. So these are just some thoughts, yeah, and this is coming from Lakota Star knowledge. Now, there's a bunch of incorrect knowledge out there too. Sorry about that. My chair is making a lot of noises. I apologize for that. I'm trying to keep balanced here so I don't make any noises. I'm keeping my butt at a certain angle. Anyway, there's a belief that says after somebody dies, you go to the happy hunting ground, and that's where all the relatives are, and there's a bunch of teepees there, lots, never non-stop celebration, and to me that sounds like a Christianized version of a Lakota version of heaven. Yeah, and because then they say you have to honest to goodness, this is what some people say, is that that happy hunting ground is a place only for full bloods. And so I'm like, okay, so what, just because you're not full Lakota, you can't go there? Do you see what I mean? It's exclusive. So it's like, it don't matter. You can be an asshole. You can kill a lot of people. You can rape a lot of women. You can rape a lot of children and do whatever you want, but as long as you're Lakota, that's where you're gonna go. You see what I mean? That don't make sense to me. That's stupidity. And talking about a place where you can always be happy. How can you be happy when emotions belong to the physical body? It's not about happiness. It's about peace. Peace and happiness are not the same thing. Yeah? So, another thing they do is something called narigluha. And this is where somebody who's trusted in the Tioshpai will keep a lock of hair from the dead person. And they keep it in a special place, and they even make a little special lodge for it. And they keep it for 1 year. And this gives time for relatives to come there and talk to it as if the person is there, because hair has something called tru. This is the essence that's connected to our souls. Yeah? So the hair has a connection to the soul. Do you see what I mean? So that's why in this ceremony, a person keeps this for a year, a trusted person, and then any relative can come, and then they talk to it as if it's the person, because the person can hear. Yeah, it's kind of like a spiritual baby monitor or something like that. Yeah, where the soul can hear what the people are saying, and this helps the people too. Yeah, it helps the relatives get used to the idea that that person is gone now. It gives them time to mourn and get used to it. It's really a very loving, compassionate thing, in my opinion. And after that year is over, they dispose of that hair in a certain way. And I'm not going to say how they do that either. That's sacred. And then the relatives, the community meets together, and then they bring the mourning relatives into the circle. And the people in the community come up to them. They wash their face, they comb their hair, and they give them a cup of water to drink. A long time ago, it used to be cherry juice. They give them cherry juice to drink. And then the ceremony is over. The year-long ceremony is now over. And then Heoka people come in. These are people who do everything backwards. Yeah, they're funny. So they're coming in to make the mourners laugh now. They're bringing them back to the normal world. So they start laughing. It's medicine going throughout their body to bring their body to peace. So now they're at peace with that death. Doesn't mean they're going to forget. It just means they've adapted now. So that's another thing that they long time ago they used to do. Now, hardly anybody does that anymore. Instead, the churches long time ago they didn't like that a lot of the ceremonies, because they said that they were from the devil. Yeah, so because it contradicted the Bible. But there were some things that they did like this washing the face and combing the hair and giving them a cup of water. That today they call that wiping the tears, but that's not the full ceremony. Yeah, the full ceremony began a year earlier and includes much, much more. But the Christians didn't like that idea of somebody keeping a piece of hair from that dead person for 1 year, and that people can go there and talk to that piece of hair as if that hair is actually that person. The priests were saying that's evil. Huh? But if it wasn't, the priests don't understand that the hair has a special connection to the soul. That's why we have long hair. Long hair is not a fashion statement. There's a reason, and I just told you what it was. Yeah. So I'm sure there's close relatives who. Another thing too is that close relatives and very close friends of the person who died, usually they're going to cut part of their hair off as a sign of mourning. Yeah, and then they leave it with the body. That way, a part of their soul, I mean not a part of their soul, but a connection to them goes with the deceased, so they're not alone. That's really, really compassionate belief system.